Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to continue with the C++ text RPG. So what's on the agenda for today? Today we're going to be creating the console class, which is a handy little class which will allow us to write to the console at any location. But before we create the console, I believe we should create the logger class so we can log and handle errors in our game. After that, if we have time, I'm going to try to investigate how to handle console inputs for the Win API. Okay, let's get started with the logger class. So there are many ways to create a logger class, and some of the benefits are you can save errors to text files for later investigation. I won't be doing that unless you guys want me to. If you do, let me know in the comment and I'll make a video for that. It also allows us to have a clean way to log information and errors. It will also save us some code duplication because we can just use that same function. So for our logger, we're going to be using the std string view for the messages, and we're also going to be using the std source location. So we can have a nice way to get the location of where our message is coming from. In order for us to be able to use the std source location, we need to set our C++ language standard to C++ 20. So we'll do that. Let's get into creating our logger class. All right, let's create that logger class. So first thing we're going to do here, actually, first thing we're going to do is check out what our C++ language standard is set to. So right now, we're set to C++ 20. If yours is not set to C++ 20, make sure you do set it to C++ 20. All right, and now let's go to source and add a new header file. And it's going to be our logger class, logger.h. And from there, we're going to want to include string view, and then source location, and then let's start creating our class. I like to put private before public. Now you guys, if you like to do it the other way, go right ahead, but this is how I like to do it. Constructor, and our destructor is just going to be default. I don't think that we're doing anything else, so a default constructor or destructor should work fine. So let's create a static void log, and in that we're going to be taking a const std string view, and that's going to be our message. The error one's going to have a little bit more to it, error, because we want to know where the error is coming from, the log. We usually just put that in. If you want, we can go back and put the source location as well for the log, but I don't think it's necessary. So static void error const std string view. We still want the string view because we want to be able to have a message, and we also want to have the source location as well. So we're going to set its default value to the current source. Awesome. And before that, we're going to actually have a private function here that returns a string, and it is the current date, because we want to have the date for all of our log messages or errors. So let's create that. Beautiful. So if you remember from last video, if you hit control period, you end up with this options here. So we're going to create definition of log in logger.cpp. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so F12, let's go to that page. And over here, we're going to want to include a few different things. We're going to want to include chrono. We're going to want to include ctime. Now these are going to be for when we want to get the date and time for our error message. And then we're also going to want to include windows. Windows.h, windows.h, there it is. So let's do current date first. So for current date, we're going to want to get time t now, so std chrono system clock, time to time t, or to time t, there it goes, std, chrono, system clock, now. So we have that, and now we're going to make our string. We're just going to call it the output, and we'll create that as 30. And null character. And now we have to figure out how do we want to format our time. So I'm going to do year, month, day, and then hours, minutes, seconds. You could do it in any order you like. So let's start with that. So you're going to want to use the %, year dash %, month dash %, day. Let's put a space, then %, hour, %, minute, second, beautiful, and then std, local time, and what local time? Now. You want to put now in there, because if you hover over top of local time, it takes in a const times t pointer right here, and then we're going to want to return that output. Awesome. Now let's get into the log. It's pretty straightforward. So first thing I'm going to want to do is grab a handle to the console. And we're just going to call it, we'll just call it h console for handle. Then we're going to want to get std handle. And we want the std output handle. Std output handle. Beautiful. So we have the handle. Now we're going to want to set console text attributes. And so we can, this is where we can change the color. And I forgot that we didn't create our color defs yet. So let's actually quickly go do that right now and come back. So we'll go here to our utilities, because that's going to be a little utility. Go here, new item, and inside a new item, we're going to want to create a new colors.h. Okay, so inside colors.h, we're only going to do foreground colors right now. We might get into background colors later. So we're just going to do some quick defines. There's probably another way we can do this, but this is what we're going to do. All right, there's that. Let's go back to logger. Let's include our colors. Oh, I got caps lock on. Let's get rid of that. Include. So we want to go to the utilities folder. So we don't even need that. We just go down here, utilities, colors. Beautiful. So inside of here, set color attribute. So let's get this console, because we need to throw the handle in there. And this is a log, so green. After that, so we got to put our message here, and then we can set our color back to white right after we're done with the message. So what do we need to do for that? Oh, we're missing something here. We need IO stream. Include IO stream. Whoa. Awesome. SCD, C out. Sorry. Log. Current date. And then we want to get our message. And then we want a new line. But we're not going to use end line. We basically want to copy the same thing here, except it's a little bit different. So now we want to make this red. We want to make this, leave that as white, and our error is a little bit different. So we have our message. Did I spell message incorrect? Oh, I didn't even give it to it, so let's put that in there. Message, and this should be location. Let's make sure we did it in the other one. Nope, we didn't. So location. Okay, let's go back. So now we want error here. Error. And then current date, yep, message. And now let's have file. And from there we can go location dot file name function location dot function and then line location dot line. Awesome. Now there's another way that we could do that. Instead of using the source location, we can use something like this. You can do function. That is a macro that will give you the function of where it is being called, and you can also use line as well, and that will give you the line back to where it is. See, it expands to line 17. However, we're not going to use those because we have this beautiful source location. So that's there. So there we go. That's our logger. Pretty straightforward. It should work. So let's do a little test. Actually, you know what? Let's create some macros first for our logger. So we can go define trpg log x logger log x. Copy this. Basically the same idea. So what I did there for copy is just Control D. That's what I have my quick key as, and it just copies that line down. And then error. Cool. And now we can just call these macros, and it'll run our functions for us. Well, it should. So let's go into game. So let's include our logger, include logger.h, and change these couts to just trpg log. Awesome. Let's make this update on error. trpg error. All right, and we'll do this one as log as well. Awesome. And let's run it. It should run. We'll see what happens. Let's see what the output says. No, it didn't build. Let's go up and see there. Ah, right here. So it wants us to, it says it's unsafe. You use local time S instead, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to use secure no warnings, and basically I think we can just copy this. Of course it's not going to let me, that's fine. So right out here at the top, all right. Did I spell that right? CRT, secure no warnings, and let's run F5. Bam. Look at that. So it looks like it's working, but we don't have our date. So let's go back and see why. Why didn't this work? Is this the issue right here? Let's take a little look. F5, I think this is the problem. Yes, that was the problem. Okay, so for some reason that I don't know, so let me know in the comments if you know why, but you cannot use the curly braces here to get that to work correctly. So now we have our time. And right here with the error says exactly where it is. So let's open this up clean. So see, it's in the file. It's got our message. Then it says where it is. This is where it is. And the func is in the update line 16. Beautiful. All right. Let's get started on the console class. A little information about the console class is that it'll help us in writing text to the console. I'm not sure why I wanted to call it a console class, but it just made sense to me, so we're going to stick with it. So it allows us to create a buffer for holding text, and it also allows us to draw the text to a specific location in the console. 16 different colors that we'll be able to use. There might be more, but I'm not sure, and we're going to be working only with the foreground stuff. We might change background stuff later, but for now, just foreground works for us. So let's go create that console class. All right, now it's time to create the console class. The console class is a bit more involved than the logger class. The logger class was something nice, quick and dirty, it works. There's better loggers out there for sure, like SPD log, that would be a good one to look into. However, we don't need that for our game here. So what we're gonna do here is just add a new start a new class, same thing as before. So new console.h. all right, so right off the bat, let's include our colors. So utilities, might as well get our colors there. Let's include windows, because we're going to need windows. All right, so now again, class console. Get our private, our public. All right, so what are we going to need for sure? We are going to need a handle to console. Now we're also going to have another handle and we'll call it console window. We're going to be using that to change different window attributes. Sorry, I think that's, yeah, there we are. And not sure if we're going to need this, but let me see. Console window rect. Let's just put that in there for now. And we're going to have a buffer. So let's do a unique pointer of wchar t. And that's going to be for our screen. Yeah, we can do that. Let's include memory. We need that to get our unique pointer. Beautiful. I think we could start with those for now. I'll move over and come back if I need it. So console, again, we got our constructors, destructors, and then what are we gonna need? We're gonna have write, and I think, yeah, write. We'll just call it write. Does that make sense? Write to the screen. We'll just call it write. Int x, int y. So those are our locations. And we're going to be using wide strings here. This includes string as well. It's not liking me today. Reference. What should we call this? We'll just call it text. Text RPG. And then we're going to want to put the color in. And colors are words. So color. And we'll just have this equal to white if nothing is put in. Awesome. Oops. What did I do wrong here? What doesn't it like? Oh, okay, that's funny. Yeah, you have to have a return value, whether it be void or... So let's start with those. Actually, there's some good constants that we can have. Let's just do, we'll have the console control the screen width. Const int screen width is equal to 128 characters. Const int screen height is equal to 48 characters high. And let's make our buffer size const int buffer size is equal to screen width times screen height. Beautiful. There's some beautiful constants that we can use for us. So again, back here, control period, let's create our definitions. And we're off. Let's go here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is this. Here, make our M screen. A null pointer. Oh, that's NP point. Okay, so let's initialize the buffer. Initialize. Why can't I spell today? The screen buffer. So MP screen is equal to std make unique w char t of buffer size. Why doesn't that like me right now? Chat. I am off. And this should be this. There we go. Alright, so we did that. Now, let's get the console window. So, let's get a handle to the console window. And H console window is equal to get console window. Awesome. So now we actually want to, anytime that we do something and it doesn't work for us, like does this have, what does this get back? Yeah, this just sends back a handle. So we can do this. So if not, get, we want to get the window rect right now. So we're gonna have to send in the window rec. Console window rect. Let's include our logger. Did we include the logger over here? Hold on. No. So let's go over here and include our logger. We might not need the logger. Oh, I'm so silly today. Include the logger. We're going to want to throw. Fail to get the window rect. Does that make sense? I think that works. Okay, so let's get the font size. Let's get the actual font size. Get the font size. So first we're going to want console font info. We'll just call this font info. And from there, I'm going to go if not get current font, current console font. And we're going to want to send in we actually want to get the output window, so sorry, yeah, because that, yeah, get std handle std out. We want an output handle. What else do we have to put in here? So do we want maximum window? No. And then we need to put in a p or pointer to console font info. So we don't want maximum, so we'll put false, and then we want our pointer of full info. So we want to send the address of font info. Okay. You know, for this, we're not going to put anything else here, so let's just do this. Throw to get the console font. That'll make sense. Let's take this out as well. I think it just looks a little bit cleaner that way. Because if we have more things than one, yeah, brackets make sense. But if it's just one thing and I'm not going to extend it, I think that'll do. So we're going to need coordinates. Font size is equal to get console font size. And now we also want to send in this handle. I guess we could have did this once, but already doing it. Font info dot end font. That should give us our font size. The reason why I want the font size is so I know how big to make the window, because we're going to be creating the window here as well, or the console window itself. So let's just print that to the screen. That's all we're going to do right now. We're going to print that to the screen. So let's go trpg log font x font size x. So this here will give us the actual size. I know it looks like it's a coordinate. It even calls it a coordinate here, but that's the actual size of the font for the console. And let's do y as well. So the same thing. I don't like how that looks. There, that looks better. And you know what? Let's go over to game. And let's include console. And here, let's have a unique pointer to the console. We'll call that MP console. We're just doing this to see if it works, and inside of init, we will let's create a console. Awesome. So it will create the console for us. And then we're going to return false here, just so it kicks out. We don't want it to keep going through everything. It should create the console for us and give us the size of our font. So I hit F5 there, we're running. It's being a pain. Let's close that. Let's try again, F5. Awesome, so right here. So the X is 8 pixels and 16 pixels high. Cool, so we know our console is being created. Let's go back. We can get rid of this for now. We don't need it. So now we're gonna wanna actually create the screen. We'll just call that int actual screen X is equal to screen width times font size dot X. And let's do the same for Y. This one's height. So I want to position this console in the center of your R screen. So we're gonna have to get the screen metrics. So we get our system metrics for SM CX screen. Yes, CX screen. And then we want to divide that by 2. And we actually want to subtract the actual screen X divided by 2. I want to do the same for Y. And I believe this is just Y here. Awesome. So, yeah. So set the size and position of the window. So what are we doing here? Again, we're just going to throw failed to set and move the console window. So what are we doing here with the move window? Move window, it takes in a handle to the console window, the positions, the width, the height, and also to repaint it. We do want to repaint it because we're actually changing it from what it could already be set as. So from there, before we keep going, we're going to want to clear the buffer. So clear the screen buffer. And we should actually make a function for that as well. So let's go back here. Yeah, we should do it here. So void clear buffer, because we may have to call this, we will be clearing the buffer multiple times, so we might as well make it a function. So let's go here, clear buffer. Clear buffer is a very straightforward function for us to do. So all we're going to want to do is set all values of the buffer to an empty space for int I equals 0. I is less than the buffer size. I plus plus np screen at I is equal to a space. That's it. And then we also want to reset we should reset the color, so I think we should create another function as well. Yeah, we should create another function for this. So bool set text color int size, so the size of the text, int x, int y, and then we're going to want to handle, we'll just call it a handle, and the color. Yeah, that'll work. Set text color. Let's open this up. Go into it. So we're going to need a chord. And we'll call it pause is equal to x, y. And we're going to use a vector for this. Oh, I should include vector. It'll make it a lot easier. So I'm just initializing this double word written because this is going to be going put into the write console output attribute function. So actually we want the address. This. So if this fails, we're going to have to just say unable to, not write, change text color. This will be true. Awesome. So where it was clear buffer, yeah, so reset all the buffer to white. Set text color. Buffer size 0, 0. I'll set it to white. Whoops. All right. Now let's call that in here buffer. Okay, so there. Now let's go back to finishing this. Now we're going to want to create the actual screen buffer. So create the screen buffer. So we need our handle to the console. And then we're going to create console screen buffer. From there, we need a generic read and a generic write. So right here, we're using the OR operator. Do we have everything? Yes, that's everything. All right, so let's check to see if our console, so if not MH console, because I believe this, yeah, returns the handle. So if we don't have a handle, let's throw fail to create the console screen buffer. All right. So now let's set that to an active. So set the buffer to be active if not set console active screen buffer. And for that, we're just going to want to send in mh console. So if not, again, it's going to be another throw. Fail to create, fail to set the active screen buffer. Does that make sense? We'll try it. Let's see what happens. Now, we actually don't want to show the cursor. So, show console cursor, we're going to have to create another function for that. So, we're going to call it bool show, because we may want to show it another time. Console cursor. Bool show. Do we want to show it? So now we're going to need to get console cursor info. We'll just call this cursor info. And then this is a nice if statement. If get console cursor info. I love how easy the Windows functions are named. Pretty straightforward. Hand in our handle. And then cursor info. Turn. Actually now. This is where we set it to invisible dot be visible is equal to show and return set console cursor info. It's console. And then we want to send in the info. It's because this returns a bool. So if this doesn't work, it will fail. Let's go back into here and do this again. Hide the cursor. So if not, show cursor, console cursor. False. Failed to hide the console cursor. Is that all we need? Yeah, I think that's good. So let's start with this and go back into game. And in game, see, we're already creating it here. But if this fails, so we could probably put this in a try catch. Let's put this in a try catch. We're just going to want to use an std exception reference E. We'll just call it E. So if it doesn't catch it, we want string error is equal to E dot what? And then that should give us our error, and we actually want to return false here. Awesome. And we'll return true if it works. That's all we're initializing for now. So if it returns true, let's get rid of all of this. And let's just see if we can write to the console. So during draw, let's go m p console. Right, and we didn't finish the write function. So let's finish this. Since we didn't finish the write, we're gonna have to do that now. So that's the first thing we're gonna do is set text color, and that's X, Y. Oh, sorry, silly me. This is text.size because it needs the size of the text. X, Y, and we need to throw in our console. Our handle, console handle, and the color that we're sending in. Remember, if we don't give a color for this, it should default to white. Int pause is equal to Y times screen width plus X. So if we don't put this in here, wherever we put in our X and our Y, it will just move to the wrong place. So we have to put in the screen width so it knows how far it has to go, plus the X. This is P. Pause, buffer size, and text.cstring. All right. Actually, I think I'm missing something else as well. I am missing the actual draw function. So we do have a write, but no matter what, we still have to call draw, our draw function, and we'll be calling this in the draw loop. So draw, let's create that. Draw. This handle all console drawing. So write console output character. We got to send in the handle. We got to send in the buffer, or the screen itself, sorry, and a pointer. We're missing something else. Oh yeah, we need LPD word for the numbers of chars written. So a char is a byte. So did I make that? No, I did not. So we have to make that right now. So we're going to want to create, I think it's just a D word and bytes written. You can call it chars written if you like, but I think bytes written is good. Just copy that, take that here. Bang, that should work for us. Let's go back to game. Inside of game, under write, let's do np console draw. Where are we going to draw? Let's draw at 10, 10. Hello world. And let's do it in red. Oh, not that. Oops. All right, F5, let's see if it works. It worked. It didn't change the color for us, but that's fine. But we got our console. Looks like it's in the center of the screen. And you know what? That's enough for today. It took a bit longer to do that than I thought it was going to be. So tune in next time. All right, I was able to actually find a little fix. See where I went wrong. Though it's more of a hack, but it fixes the problem. So right here, when we're creating the actual screen, so doing the console, when we're doing the screen X, screen Y, I added 16 here and 48 here. So this is 2 characters wider, and then because this is font size, if you remember, it was 16, so that would make this 3. Yeah, 3 characters taller, and that seemed to get it to work. So if I hit F5 now, bang, our hello world is now red, and we're telling it to go where we want it to go. So I'm not sure why that works. If someone in the comments can maybe explain it to me, it just works. So we're gonna keep it going from here. Thank you. Awesome, guys. So that wraps up this video. So we didn't have time to dig into the Win API for processing different console input events. However, we'll get right into that next time before we start doing anything else. And then we will create game states in the state machine. This will allow us to smoothly transition to and from different game states. And we'll start with the game state itself. Then we'll, if time permitting, we'll start the selector class. All RPGs need some sort of selector for moving in the menus and selecting different actions. This is going to be a template class because not all selectors are using the same data. So we want to be able to change the data at whim, and we'll start doing that next week. All right, thank you. We'll see you next time.